Happy Friday, guys. This is the most AIDS Friday PA I've ever seen in the AM session since April. It's just been brutal, just paint dripping, you know. Hopefully we get a little action in NYPM, but as of now, it's just been AIDS. So I'm gonna have a look at ONDO instead. I think this is gonna be a nice swing trade. Also spot, to be honest with you. All right, let's start on the weekly. So here's the weekly. There was an external low right here inside this weekly order block that got raided. So order block stops right here got raided. Everyone who entered for that last swing. So on the weekly profile, once the external low gets taken, you're looking to draw into the weekly internal range here. And that's still going to be discount within the weekly dealing range. So that's kind of like a very easy target to hit, I would say. So then if we drop it into the 4 hour just to time frame align this, and actually we'll go up one time frame to the 8 hour one, and we have a 4 hour MMXM printing. I just put it on the 8 hour because it's easier to visualize on the 8 hour. I do this a lot with MMXMs, but it's 4 hour distribution zones. So what you have is an external raid here, order pairing above that raid, so a lot of the shorts got filled there. On the lower time frames inside this range, you had a sweep here of the internal range. That was your low risk sell, and then you could see we shift market structure and create the first distribution 2, and then you have all these juicy failed swings that got rinsed with that final drop into the low. So this is where your buy program is activated. It's not confirmed. It just means that there was order pairing and resting bids were below this level. Based on the reaction in that zone, this is a pretty strong reaction. So it's forming a range, basically. If you take your range fib out, this would be like your range low, range high, range mid, showing reactivity as well. We're above the range mid, which is bullish, but I'll break this down even more in the lower time frame. So if we go into the 4 hour, here's our 4 hour range. What do we see? You had 4 hour demand right here before this displacement candle. So that people think it's just demand because it's the last down candle, but realistically it has to have displacement coming out of it. If it doesn't have displacement, that means this could have just been like an area of like a pattern interrupt of the drop. But if it has displacement and it shifts on lower time frame, that means this is going to be proper demand. So you could see when it comes back into it, it stops volume right above that demand and then rinses into it and then raids that low inside. Now I have here this OTE cluster. So basically if you fib out from the area where the buy program was activated to the high on that reaction, using your 618 and 786, there's a cluster here. What I want to see in that cluster is basically a raid and a shift on whatever time frame is aligned with the weekly profile. So in this case, I'm trading the weekly chart. So I'm using 4 hour structure within this 4 hour MMXM. So what I want to see is a 4 hour raid. Ideally, it's going to have a strong SFP showing that there's buying pressure in this low inside demand. And then from the last swing high that led to the raid, I want to see a strong shift out of it, which we had right here. So the next step, I'm looking for from the swing low to the swing high, where does the OTE cluster form in the range? You can see there's a raid right at the 618. So it clusters at the 618 and then they raid and then shift above. So everything is showing bullish momentum and bullish order flow. So what you're now trying to do is time frame align your entry on the 15-minute and just join trend now that we've had some structure develop and market structure shifts. So in this fractal right here, we're actually looking for the setup. So right here you could see from this swing low that took out this low, and this swing high that took out that high. In discount within the range, there's a 4-hour imbalance. So this is pretty much my draw after you taken out the internal high. So external high to internal low in discount within this dealing range. So we'll drop it to 15. This is where we look for our entry within a 4-hour buy program. So from this low to that high, if you fib out, this is our OTE cluster, and you could see it envelopes the 4-hour imbalance right here. What else do we have in the range? In discount, from this high to this low, you could see internal range around equilibrium into discount. We have this low and this low. So these are our 15-minute stops, basically right here and right here. We have liquidity stacked in this range. So what I want to see as they continue building or engineering liquidity for the move up, I want to see it slow bleed out into that OTE cluster and stop volume somewhere in the range here, and then flush into the 4-hour imbalance. Then a shift, and then basically entering anywhere in discount within whatever dealing range forms here on the 15-minute time frame. So this is going to be the entry. And then what gives me even more confidence in this trade, if we zoom back out, again, this is going to be part of a 4-hour market maker model that is drawing into the weekly imbalance next. So even though this is the final high, the original consolidation, my draw on the weekly is above these highs. So you just want to go long somewhere in discount within this dealing range to this target one. And what's giving me confidence, if you zoom in, here's our 4-hour demand. This is wave 1, wave 2 of the harmonic. You could see we hit the 886, bounced, got a pretty good reaction, pulled back, made a higher low. So what we're doing now is we're part of a confirmed harmonic and we're forming higher lows inside demand, 4-hour demand. So this is very good confluence for reversal. Most major structures, or reversals I should say, start with pretty decent M shapes at the bottom, and this one just happens to line up with a pretty good fib ratio. So what are the targets coming out of this? We'll drop it back into the daily. So here's the targets that I'm seeing. So first target is going to be essentially above these highs. So you have equal highs in the range, in this 4-hour consolidation range, and then above it you have the weekly internal imbalance. So right here is the strong weekly draw. It's also your 4-hour draw. Once we pull back into discount, you're going to be looking to push up into here. So that's going to be your TP1. TP2 is basically going to be the top of the MMXM. So the original consolidation, you could see on the lower time frame a huge liquidity pool. So you basically got equal highs and a lot of open failed swings into the range high. So all these highs didn't take out the previous high, so that's going to help fuel the move up. So TP2, I'm basically looking at the original consolidation within the harmonic, and then TP3, we're getting a little more creative here. And again, this is like, there's no guarantee it's going to go up there, especially if BTC continues to bleed out on a weekly time frame. But if you just tag the low to the high into this low in discount, your trend-based fib is going to take you into this high right here. So my projections on the daily and weekly are into this target right up here, 1272, 1414, so basically 220, and your TP3 would basically be a runner, so you'd be already pretty good percentage out of the position by there, but you'd have a runner on just in case this really does start to create another level and form into a weekly MMXM, which would look something like this. Box 1, box 2 into there, and then a blow off somewhere above $3 maybe, and then you would just be playing the sell side after that into discount, not necessarily purging the lows, but something around the 786, 886 maybe. So that's how this could evolve. That's the trade setup. There's also a complementary harmonic. So again, we mapped out at the lows, we mapped out this 4-hour harmonic right here, and the complementary harmonic is forming to the upside. So you're basically mapping you get the point. Like basically that's your wave 1, wave 2 opens up there, and on the final projection you're looking for the 886. So this is how harmonics play out, and then if things get really wild, what you'll see develop at the complementary harmonic is a 4-hour supply line. So this is kind of what you want to see before big breakout. So right here, your 886 is basically going to take you into the supply line. And then when this breaches the supply line, what you want to see is basically consolidation below it and then a big break with volume. Any retest that has equal and more volume than the breakout, that's going to be a trigger to go long for the larger harmonic, which is going to take you into these highs. All right, that's ONDO. Enjoy your weekend, boys. Cheers.